Welcome to Audience First, a podcast for tech marketers looking to break out of the echo chamber, to better understand their buyers, what motivates them, and what they hate that vendors do. It's time to unmute your mic. Are you ready?
Chase, it's super awesome that you're here with us today and we get to jam about all the good things. But how about you tell us who you are, what do you do, and why the hell do you do it?
So I have a podcast. It's the Dr. Zero Trust Show. I do that because I think that there's not enough truth and honesty in the market, and somebody's got to be willing to say things that others won't. So I enjoy that. I'm also the co-founder of a company called DemoForce, and we are fixing the broken model of how people engage with software.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so I want to ask one question before we get to some of the juicy demo stuff. Why do you think, there's not enough truth in the industry? Why do we have to call out the status quo? What in your opinion, is the reason?
I think it's a perfect storm of a industry where there is tons and tons of money going in, where it will always return a nice return for the investors. So they have no incentive to invest in anything actually new or innovative.
Right.
It's also a space where the problems that we have are basically causing the growth of the industry. And why kill the golden goose?
Yeah.
So everyone's hesitant to say that, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. Like if you look at I'm a data guy. Like I live, eat, and sleep, breathe data. If you look at the data and the trends and all those other things, it does not take a rocket scientist to figure out that things ain't right.
Yeah.
And it just continues to spiral further and further out of bounds. And I believe fundamentally, like in my core, that in a digital world, everyone has a right to be safe online. Like it's a fundamental human right now.
Right.
And if we're not doing things to make that better, we're choosing to basically ignore that right. And I'm just not okay with that.
It's a very big question that I'm going to ask, but what do we do about it?
I mean, I think the first thing is to be real about it, like actually confront the problems and talk honestly about it.
Right.
And then the second side is we need to look at where we're putting money and figure out, is this innovation or is it innovative? Most of the time I find it to be innovation. I love it when I go off and I have a Google search that runs once every Monday for the word leader on marketing slicks. Everybody's a leader. Yeah. Well, wait a minute. The word leader means you can't have a whole bunch.
Yeah.
So like just all these little things play together. It's I think cyber is, there's big pharma. Yeah. I think this is big cyber. Yeah. And it is a colossal problem.
Are some of these problems why you kind of, I'm shifting the conversation a little bit, but is it safe to assume that these problems kind of gave you inspiration to create DemoForce or? Yeah.
So for like the whole impetus for DemoForce was I was consulting for a company, and even though I have a doctorate in computer science, I could not do the demos. I had to have one of their people on to do the demos, which business wise, I kind of get that, right? Trackability, traceability. However, the logistics of getting humans to do demos is a nightmare. Plus, when you're doing this stuff internationally, I mean, if I got to wake up at 2:00 in the morning to demo software to somebody in Kuala Lumpur, that sucks. Yeah. And then how many times can you get a person to demo the piece of software? And there's this weird, like, misnomer of proof of concept, which is what you're trying to get to, which is right before the buy. Yep. And then there's demo, which is first hit, like from my white paper, from my marketing content, top of the funnel stuff. 99 times out of 100, you shouldn't need to get humans involved if your software actually delivers to do that. And I lost deals. Yeah. And because of the logistics, I literally had one customer that was like, If you clowns can't do a demo, why would I buy your software?
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
And they walked.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I've got to eat, the commission I was going to get off that deal potentially and whatever else. And I just called up some friends of mine who we'd built some virtualization tech in the past. And I was like, dude, let's just never do this crap again.
Yeah.
And then the other side of it was looking at APIs, working on API Jedis.
Mm-hmm.
All this stuff should be automated.
Right.
And everything talks to everything. So why is it so disjointed? Why is there a human component? I'm just not doing this anymore. It needs to be fixed.
So I want to take a step back and really understand what is the true definition of a demo? Because you talked about POC, and there are a lot of misconceptions also on the go-to-market side, like what a demo really is versus like a discovery call or like, intro calls or something like that, or POCs.
No, if you get 100 people in a room, you get 100 different definitions. But from my experience, a demo is, here's my software, try it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's it. It's going to the car dealership, and the guy that wants you to drive the Corvette tosses you the keys and says, go off and have a run. And when you're back, if you like it, let's sign paperwork. That's a demo. The moment I have to download, install, configure, logistics, meetings, all the other stuff that comes along, we've put so much friction in that place, especially for software, that it's going to start derailing the process.
And that's how buyers expect a demo to be as well. Is that how we keep up with their expectations?
Think about it. Like, I'm not sure if you've done this recently, but anytime you go to like buy a piece of software, right? B2C.
Yep.
And you go and it says, try me.
Yep.
And what do?
Yep.
You go fill out a form and you click the thing and download it. Then you follow their instructions and you set it up. And there's always a couple of weird things that don't work right. And then you have to talk to their help desk and no. Doesn't work for B2C. Why would it work for B2B? And on top of that, especially in IT security software, how many approvals do you have to get for somebody to let you try software in an environment?
Right.
If I'm a CISO, you ain't putting that stuff in my network.
Exactly. That's a big insight that I learned a couple years ago. I was talking to somebody who's saying they make it so hard because they ask for all access to all these things. Like, why would I even give them access to a quarter of what they're asking?
That's a proof of concept. Yeah. That's when you're getting ready to close it and big enterprise rollout. A demo should be Saturday night at 11 o'clock. I was watching basketball and I found a piece of software. I want to try it out. Cool. Click, download, click, try. That's it.
Yeah.
And what's been funny too on the demo force side, again, back to me being a data geek.
Yeah.
Typical conversion ratio for a free trial.
Yeah.
You're lucky if you get 5 to 7%, right?
Really? Yeah.
Demo force links were over 40.
Wow.
And then the other thing is over 90% of our demos are off hours.
Off hours.
Off hours.
Yeah.
Like people, you're going to ask a CISO or a CIO or whoever who's already doing their job, managing people, budget, to take an hour out of their day to watch you click things.
I stopped believing in the best hours of, I mean, it's all the time. Everybody's on all the time. I never use hours as an indication unless, you start seeing trends in the data. But I do want to know so taking a step back, some anecdotes from experiences, B2C experiences, software experiences. I love it when you see the try me button and then or get a demo button and then you fill out all these like progressive forms and it's like, wait 24 hours until someone gets back to you. And I'm just like, I just wanted to try out the product before I actually, I looked at your pricing page already. You gave me the marketing material.
Like, I'm this close.
Yeah. And then now you're making me wait 24 hours. And it's the same even with security startups. And, I've been, as a demand gen leader, I was like, oh God, why can't we just give them access? So my question is, why are some startups and security firms, even not like it's universal, I feel like, software startups, making it so hard to just freely explore the platforms?
There's two things that I've noticed. There's the founder CEO problem of we're worried that someone will steal our IP. Yes. My response to them is then don't do YouTube videos, don't do marketing, just quit. Because why are you even here if you're not going to let people try out your software? And then the other one is that you're really running into this issue of, is your software going to perform in the hands of that prospective buyer the way that you hope? And it's legitimate that you're worried about that. But do you think Henry Ford was worried about when people took the Model T out for a drive?
Right.
No, he had faith in his product, and you're derailing your sales and go-to-market. The other one I've learned about this doing the demo for stuff is we've thought lead people to death,
Mm-hmm.
and then the call to action sucks.
Yeah.
Like I just did a webinar last week for a company. They paid me to do the webinar. And then at the end of it, what we leave with?
Yeah.
Did anybody try out the software?
Right.
They probably think I'm a relatively intelligent individual, which is cool. And I got a couple of dollars, but this company didn't sell any software. And the other thing that's even worse, they went back to zero, and now they got to re-engage with all those leads rather than just being like, here, try the software.
Exactly. So let's say me, demand gen leader, kind of boots on the ground, executing tactically, come to a point where I have to somehow get buy-in for letting our customers and prospects explore freely the platform, right? Do a real demo. How do we communicate how do we get the buy-in and communicate to stakeholders that we need to be opening up and stop being so, stop providing so much friction in the process? What's the best kind of communication method, do you think?
I would always ask folks, do you feel like your current go-to-market first hit sort of top of the funnel stuff is actually generating real leads and real business on the far end?
Mm-hmm.
Most of the folks would say we fish with dynamite because we hope we get a couple to kind of float to the top, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be better to say we're not going to derail our current marketing campaign, but we're going to take it and we're going to do, anytime somebody goes to our thought leadership blog, they can try our software. When they try our software, we'll know how long they tried it, what they did with it, their thoughts on the way out. And then that will go off to our CRM, auto-populate, and we can engage with that person with a real conversation instead of, hey, I saw you read my white paper. Do you want to buy my software? I read white papers all the time.
Yeah,
I don't buy software.
Exactly. Well, that's not the kind of natural progression anyway, right? Take me through a little bit about how a good demo process works. Like, what's the ideal state? And I want to, let's put DemoForce to the side. If somebody wants to do this on their own, build their own virtual environment or whatever, what is, from your experience working with buyers, the ideal experience for them?
You need to be able to meet them where they are currently. Yeah. Don't introduce any new stuff. People have already got marketing campaigns. You're doing white papers and YouTube and all that thing. So integrated, think like Calendly, right? Yeah. You can send a link anywhere. And then also make it where there's no risk to the person that's trying out the software.
Yeah. Of
number one, having to configure, download, install, make it work. Or two, that I can't really try it out with my links and my connections and my data to a degree and be done with it. So you've got to have destructible capabilities there. So, if I'm going to go off and I'm a healthcare CIO or CISO and I want to try out a piece of software, I should be able to at least connect it up to some sort of data stream and say, is this legit? Does it work?
Right.
But there's no risk of that data staying out there where I'm at, I'm compromising different things.
Right.
So those things. And then the last piece is, if you can't take in really good data and pump it off to the CRM to inform the sales team, you're just adding more stuff into the process. It shouldn't be that way.
Yeah.
This whole thing should be automated. And, your sales engineers are not there for demos.
Yeah.
Your sales engineers are there to engineer sales.
Right.
At the end of the process.
Yeah. So what are the signals that the sales professionals should be looking at after the prospect or customer is using that demo and engaging with the product?
I think the one that stands out the most is how long they actually used it, and it is there interaction going on there? Maybe they played with it for 2 hours, but you didn't see a whole lot of interactivity. Well, maybe they just had it set off on the backside and they weren't really using it and whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas if somebody used it for an hour, you see that they clicked through everything that you set in front of them and they went and connected up to their own network. That's a prospect I want to have a conversation with.
Right.
So that boils off a lot of that top of the funnel stuff where people are just wasting your time.
Yeah.
And you should be able to get that information.
And then you said earlier, what was the conversion rate and the from where to where?
Yeah. So statistically speaking, and this is published data, free trials is between 5 to 7%. 7% conversion.
Free trial to one?
Free trial for somebody actually trying your software
from
a
lead
click.
to free trial.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then a DemoForce link, interactive engagement is over 40.
Are there any stats published out there? I haven't taken a look as of late, but any stats published from free trial to closed one?
That's a good question. I haven't seen them, but I've heard that they're in the single digits.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got to find that because, I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? That was the argument when I was working in-house was, yeah, we don't want our competitors to see our proprietary. I'm like, if they wanted to, they could. I mean,
I do it all the time.
yeah,
I go look at people's software
yeah.
and mess with it because I just want to. So don't bother marketing if you're worried about selling your products.
I mean, taking a look, you've been an analyst for a while. You work now with G2. You're doing Demo Force. You're working with startups. You're a practitioner in the security space. Do you think we need to rethink the whole sales process or the way we do things as go-to-market professionals?
I think it's fundamentally broken. I think it's
what about it is
inherently
broken?
flawed. The whole thing.
Yeah.
I think the way that we put so much friction in place causes people not to get software that they could use for good purposes. I think that the way that we've built up this kind of marketing engine around new shiny things rather than actually what probably makes a difference is derailing the process. And the other piece of it too is we're still being led by these late 80s, 90s sort of approaches of analyst relations and data and usage within the space.
Mm-hmm.
If it's on the MQ upper right, then it has to be the thing that I'm going to start with. Well, no.
Yeah.
I mean, there's great people at those firms that do amazing work and they're all super smart. However, that's not the way things work in a world where we talk about democratization of technology.
Yeah.
That's not what I do when I want to find a good Mexican food restaurant.
Right.
I don't go look at the MQ for Mexican food. I go look at Yelp. Like, oh, that one's got 500 4-star reviews.
Yeah.
Cool, I'm going there.
Oh, you're scratching the surface on what we're going to get to next. But I do want to know, you've engaged with a lot of practitioners over the years. Again, been one yourself. How do you see, or how do you see buyers acting differently? They are dynamic in and of itself as well. They're changing the way they're behaving. Is that safe to assume? I mean, I see it qualitatively, but is that something that you're seeing as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think the buyers nowadays, everyone is way more educated.
Yeah.
You don't have to. No one is kind of beholden to. I can't figure out what I need to figure out on my own. The internet's here.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have an answer, you can go ask one of the GPTs and have it, vomit back a response. So our buyers are way more educated. They're way more informed. And where things go wrong is the actual process of us getting them into the space. That's where things go sideways.
Yeah.
They know what they want. They understand the value proposition. They understand what it's going to do for them, but they should be able to use it and figure out what's going on. Like if you were, say you did 3 months worth of research on your fancy new cool car you were going to go buy, right? And I want a, Chevy Corvette. And you went to the dealership and the Corvette dealer says, I understand you're here. I see that you visited our website. You'd love to check out this Corvette. However, for you to take it for a test drive, I need you to install the transmission and then bleed the brakes.
Hey.
Are you going to buy that car?
Nope.
That's what we do in software sales.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, so take me through a little bit how Demo Force works. What's kind of the experience of a new customer?
So there's either side of the equation. So a new customer for us being a vendor using Demo Force, and then there's the prospect looking at a vendor's stuff to potentially buy.
Mm-hmm.
For us, we onboard them. We get all their stuff set up. All of our VMs are custom built. We integrate all of their social, all their go-to-market, all their APIs, CRM, marketing platform, all that stuff. And we basically say, look, here's your template image. If you're good with this, let's make copies of that because that's what virtualization does.
Mm-hmm.
So now if they have one really amazing demo, they can have 50 copies of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got 50 people demo your software at one time with no human involved. And you control all that. You control it by allow listing, block listing, API setups, everything else. And at the end of the session, the data from that prospect trying your software goes off to your CRM, including chats and usage and all that stuff.
Amazing.
Yeah, and then the last piece is if a prospect is coming to check out a vendor's software via Demo Force, all they do is they go, oh, I want to try out this software. There's a demo. Click the button. It sends them an email.
Yeah.
They authenticate with no passwords, drop into the product, and play with the software. That's it.
That's amazing. I did work for a company specializing in this, but not as sophisticated as this. And and niche. So are you only working with security, or is it kind of across all SaaS?
No, we're starting to branch out. Funny enough, I had never considered this use case, but my brother's a roofer, and he was asking about he had get some software for estimating roofing jobs. He's he's a roofer. He doesn't do software. And I said, well, would it be interesting if you could just try that software out from their website?
Yeah.
Next thing I know, I got a call with the guy that runs the roofing company's software to try it out on demo for us.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. So healthcare, I think, is another space we can get into, because those people got jobs to do that are not configuring software.
Right.
Why would we make them do that to try and
Sure.
buy the software we want to sell them?
Sure. How, so a question that I have is, what's, putting myself in the vendor shoes, you know, I'm a CRO. You're coming in with DemoForce right now, and I'm evaluating, like, what's the cost of not using DemoForce?
So let's imagine that your goal, let's say you accept the reality that my goal is to get lots of at-bats. We talk about that all the time. Okay, well, I want lots of at-bats. Well, if I have to have a sales engineer tied to every demo request, and I get 300 demo requests a month, how many sales engineers do you need to solve that problem?
Okay, yeah.
And just to, you know, the market tells us that an average sales engineer costs you about 90 grand a year base, usually around 120, 130 with all the other stuff tied in. So multiply that by the number of humans you need, and that's the problem you're dealing with. Or let's virtualize it. Let's go to a subscription-based model. Let's do it once.
Yeah.
And then you can share that stuff ad nauseum.
Okay, that makes sense. But at what point, though, does it become critical to involve the human? Because we are dealing with sophisticated technology, and sometimes there are questions, and, you know, we don't want to remove the human altogether in security specifically.
Sure. So the involvement of the human is just like any other system. There is a back end where people are administrators. If somebody has an issue, you put your chat widget into your VM, and they can ask you a question in real time. You can drop into the VM and actually do stuff with them to troubleshoot it. Or at the very end of it, you have those people go off to a survey page from Marketo or whatever else, and then you respond to them in email in kind. So it's as interactive as you want it to be, but the whole goal of this is to make it where people can try it out on their own. If they have questions, ask. Because, I mean, being real, most of us are not super excited about talking to a salesperson every step of the process.
I mean, I'd argue that if the salesperson builds rapport to a certain degree, like, I see that there is value in having a face-to-face interaction. So I guess my question is, like, what's the implications to the buyer and to the vendor of not having any face-to-face interaction? Because, you know, people like people.
Sure.
You know, we don't want to take out the human face and the humanity of it all, right?
Absolutely. And I think the other question that those folks should ask is, what's the cost of trying to involve a human at scale?
Okay, that's fair.
I mean, how many salespeople you got?
Yeah.
You know, I have.
And how many are actually good at building those relationships?
And how many people, I think one other thing that stood out too is, if you're going to be investing in events and all these other things, and you hire people that are not even company employees to promote your product.
Yeah.
When somebody says, well, what does it do? What do? You go, oh, let me go find Ricky or Sarah.
Yeah.
And then you just slow the process down instead of, here's a QR code, try it for yourself.
Yeah, this is interesting. So what are the new updates? I mean, I've taken a look at the platform maybe a year and a half ago.
It's come light years.
So what's new? Kind of what have you updated in the last year and a half?
So we built our own custom API hook engine,
Okay.
very similar to what Zapier or some of those other folks give you, but we give it to people for free.
Nice.
So whatever API you want to hook into, as long as you have the key and an event, you can send that data off to wherever you need it to go. Other things, we have an allow and a block list capability. So maybe you want the whole internet to try your software. Maybe you're not comfortable with that and you only want people from X to demo it.
Yeah.
Do that too.
Yeah.
And then other things are basically all around branding. So being able to throw in, you know, little dancing widgets and whatever cool branding stuff you want on emails.
Does that really move the needle? Like, people really
What's
want
funny is it does.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. The more eye candy you can have,
Exactly,
you know. And then the last one is the analytics, because we can process all the way down to the process level on the machine and send that off to the vendor. So you can get really good fidelity on who does what with your software.
Do you find that those power users, or even just users, I imagine there are power users, active users, maybe passive users. Do you find that they're able to really kind of operationalize the analytics or use it and analyze it themselves, like take the next steps from that kind of point of view in what they're seeing in time?
The ones that are good at it, what they're doing is they're taking in all their other metrics from all those other systems that we pay for, and they're bouncing them off of each other to say where is their actual likelihood of a deal, and then vectoring in there. It's the Higgs boson thing, right? They should be able to see all this information and kind of go, that's where I need to vector.
Keyword is should be able to.
I can't make people smart.
So no, okay, you can. Well, you can. I'd argue you can, and we will today. So you're a data guy. What would be your kind of recommendation for anybody who wants to spruce up on really reading data, quant data, analyzing it? Kind of give your folks here your best practice kind of quick guide.
Yeah, so I always think that you start with hypotheses and work your way backwards, right? So all of us typically have something in you call it your gut, that kind of says this is how this should look, and then begin collecting data that's from disparate sources to make sure that you're validating that the hypothesis is correct. And to your point, you should be willing to adjust your hypotheses based on the data that you actually see. You're not trying to cherry pick stuff to fit your narrative.
Exactly.
You're looking at where it should go and going, okay, I see 10 points that are different than what I thought. Let me modify my hypotheses.
Have you seen any customers take some of the data they've seen and been able to change the narrative, especially on the CEO front, like the stakeholder front? Because we get a lot of asks from the top, right?
The one that stands out the most is the folks that have been able to say that they've actually put budget where it needs to go, that they thought it was, we needed X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And when you actually operationalize it and virtualize it, you save a lot of cash. And that money goes other places.
Yeah.
If you're budgeting for all these humans, humans aren't cheap.
No. That's exciting to hear. Who are you typically working with? Like, what's your ideal customer for DemoForce?
Usually it's CMOs have been ones that really get the value proposition. Chief sales officers have also been the ones that really dive in on it too. They seem to understand that there's a disconnect somewhere in the buying process.
Yeah.
And they want to grease the skids.
Yeah.
Those have typically been the two that we work with. It also has been interesting too, because of the virtualization component for some of the product-led growth, that if you're doing demos and on step 6 in every demo, people pop smoke, there's a problem with the software. And because it's a VM virtualized, you can take the actual AMI, send that to the dev guys along with the analytics and go, here's a problem, they fix it.
Okay, AMI stands for?
It's basically just the VM itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to ask maybe what might be a polarizing question. And it's going to be an assumption based off of experience. We typically use technology and tools as crutches for success, in my opinion, versus taking a look at ourselves internally and fixing the processes before we move to the tech. Why do you think a lot of go-to-market teams rely on technology as that crutch to say, yes, if we do this, we're going to succeed, but then when they use the tool, they're just kind of like underwhelmed and not successful? Does that question make sense?
Yeah, I've had some folks where they've said, this is great, this makes so much sense, I get the value prop, like let's do this, and then they get it and they put it on the shelf, and then they come back and go, you know what, we're canceling. And I always say, fine, I understand why, but my question to them is like, can you just tell me how you use this?
Yeah.
Most of the time I found that there was some sort of issue in the company where no one agreed to everything and it didn't wind up rolling out.
Right.
So that whole piece about, if you're going to buy into a solution, I would say just be cautious that you're going to actually use it the way that it was intended.
Right.
Because if you don't, you're going to get subpar results.
Right.
And then why would you even have the question of like, well, why didn't this work the way I wanted it to?
Right.
Well, I sold you a shovel and you wanted a rocket. I mean, those two things are not the same.
Yeah. It's one thing, like there's obviously this proliferation of tech across all different verticals. And we get excited by the shiny object and the next new thing coming out. But often what I've seen working internally, and even now, with the business and the platform we have going on, we evaluate tech, we get excited, and we don't think about, okay, what is our strategy for using it? How are we going to tactically use it? Who's going to own it? What's the process for scaling it up or scaling it down? Are we going to continue long-term with this? Is this a short-term thing? So we don't often think about those questions. I feel like we get excited and jump to the next shiny thing that's going to solve all of our problems because it's going to increase conversion rate by 50%. But then you go there and it's just like zero pipeline or anything. But so like, what are your steps you recommend for your customers before, like, as they're onboarding, before they even use the platform?
So when we onboard them, they always go, okay, well, how big can we go? And I start everybody off with, you get 3 machines.
Yeah.
And they're usually like, whoa, that's too small.
Yeah.
I understand that. My point is, let's get 3 where they're really good, really well put together. Probably take whoever your most amazing SE is at your company and basically virtualize that person with their instructions and all the cool things they do that close deals. And if we can get it right at 3, because these are VMs and we can template this stuff, then we'll do 6.
Yeah.
Then we'll do 9. Then we'll do 12. But even if somebody came to me today and said, like, I have $1 million and I want 1,000 machines tomorrow, I'd say, no, we're going to start with 3 because I'm only guaranteeing that we're going to fail and you're going to fail if we don't start small and work our way forward.
Yeah.
And I'd rather have it go that way.
I love that. And then we're heading towards the end of this session before we talk about other really, really good things. Do you find, as someone who's been an analyst working for a large analyst firm, that like these 2 models go against each other? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, and why one over the other?
I think it's because people are just hesitant to change, right? Change is scary.
Yeah.
And you feel like you're losing a bit of control. And then there's always the horror stories of things going awry. Even if those are onesie twosie, it always applies to everyone. That's typically what I find out on that side of the equation. What's been funny too, having, the access to the analyst community that I do have, I've shown this stuff to the analysts, and every single one of them from every firm I've talked to is like, this is how you should evaluate software.
Yeah.
And to the point where even some of those analysts say, I would like to see this sent to me for my next evaluative report, because I don't want to, sitting there doing those evaluative reports, watching some person demo the thing or showing me a video is not actually the software.
Yeah.
One other part that's been interesting too is a lot of the government folks, because we do have a contract in the federal space. The federal government people that respond to these bids, they've said that they like to be able to see and use the software and just see how it works. We've had a couple of vendors that have won contracts because they put a link to DemoForce inside of a response instead of a drawing, instead of an architecture diagram, whatever. It was, here's our write-up, here's a response, try it.
Is there, by the way, before we get to the fun part, which is the shit list, and we're going to have a great time doing that, is there some kind of statistic out there of how many buyers are really in market at one particular time to evaluate or buy a solution? It's
a small percentage. It's like, it's single digits. Most people are perusing, they're looking around, they're doing research. And the larger the enterprise is, the longer the sales cycle is.
Exactly.
But the thing is, the more often you can engage with, I think Gartner published this a while back, the more often you can engage with and keep that thing going, the better off you'll be.
Right.
I would still ask people, how are you going to do that with human beings in a very manual process over time?
Right.
Well, you come to read my white paper a year ago.
Yeah.
Cool, you tried the software.
Yeah.
Oh, you went and watched the webinar I did 3 months ago. Cool, you tried the software. Like, that stuff should just happen.
I love it. Okay, the shit list. We always do this on every episode. You've done this before, I think, in the past as well, when we were on with Aaron. I think it was with Aaron over at Checkpoint 2 years ago. That was a good episode, by the way. What's the one thing vendors are doing that pisses you off?
The biggest one is that they're saying, like, from the perspective of the demo side is, well, I'm not willing to put my software out there.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, then just you close your doors and go home. Like, don't do YouTube. I mean, don't market, just quit.
How many do that really? Like, is it
7 out of 10 to start with? Yeah. And their founder-led ones are worse.
Really?
Yeah, because and I get it. It's their baby, right?
Do you see a difference though between like early stage and kind of later stage companies?
Later stage are way more hesitant than early stage. Yeah. Early stage, you're like clamoring. They'll take whatever they can get. You know, you want me to jump off a building with a parachute? That whatever. Sure, I'll do it.
As long as it has our logo on the parachute.
If it's a logo, I'm good. Right. But then you get the later stage, and it is like, oh well, we're worried about that.
Yeah.
It's like, man, You've built this amazing product that you say is the greatest thing in the universe, but you won't let people try it.
Yeah. What's the one thing that you've seen that you said, wow, this is a really good job. Like, we need more of this?
The folks that I've worked with that have actually put things where it's going operational, like I had a vendor at Black Hat last year where they had a dinner event and they had QR codes for the actual software on the menus.
Oh, nice.
Everybody there got to demo the software at the event.
Like through
literally
the platform?
right there. Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
They were there. So
That's
it's like everyone came to the dinner. We all shook hands and do all the cool stuff you do. And at the end, everyone left having tried the software.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished. And it didn't require no more friction, no nothing. All you had to do was take your phone and click it. You're done.
That's amazing. Well, we're headed towards the end of the session. Anything you want to impart on the audience today?
Don't keep doing the same thing you've been doing and wonder why you're not getting better results. I mean, we have a market that knows that there's a better way to do it. And, also just maybe step back and look at all the information you pay for that tells you that there's a better way to do it. Instead of just paying for it, actually use that stuff.
Music to my ears.
God forbid, right?
It's hard to do. I will say it is hard to do, but you got to practice and massage that muscle to analyze that data, not let it sit and collect dust. To your point, I love it. You're always welcome back to the show. We have actually another session that we're going to be kicking off in just a few minutes. We're going to talk about all the good things with regards to peer reviews, social data to drive better GTM decisions. Chase, loved chatting with you about the DemoForce platform and about sales demos in our space in general. This has been another episode of Audience First. We are out.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Audience First. If you like what you've heard, feel free to follow or subscribe to Audience First on Apple, Spotify, or any of your favorite podcast streamers.